Hello everyone and welcome back to Paint with Pete. First of all, I want you to meet my friend and special guest, Grumpy. Say hello to the audience, Grumpy. Come on, Grumpy. Come on. Today's episode is going to be all about motivation. The first thing you'll need is an idea. Ideas are sometimes really hard to get. When you finally get hold of one, you should develop it into a proper concept. The difference between ideas and concepts is that concepts are more likely to resist criticism. If you think you developed a good concept, you should expose it to someone. This process will easily tell if you can deal with criticism. Let's try this out with our friend. Hey Grumpy, you suck! Criticism can be a valuable part of your motivation, and I'm not necessarily talking about constructive criticism here. You may know the feeling of being disappointed and angry. This is a very strong feeling and it's mostly negative energy. Come on! But like criticism, you can channel this bad energy and turn it into something positive by integrating it into your picture. Weirdly enough, these are the pictures that tend to be the most interesting ones. What I'm saying is, don't just draw a picture, but put life into it. Something you and maybe others can relate to. It's always easier to paint if there is an actual purpose to work for. I'm currently working on a personal project of mine. It's gonna be a role-playing board game called Explore and Terminate. I'm going to need a lot of artwork for it, so I figured I'd just draw a mood for the game's manual. Learning something new is one of the easiest ways to achieve the feeling of success and increase motivation. You might have probably guessed it already, but this is not Photoshop or Painter. It's Alchemy, an open source program to create almost random shapes and compositions. I've rarely used it, but trying to work with a weirdly behaving tool like this forces you to think outside the box. I really recommend trying this, especially for all the control freaks out there, like me. It helps loosen up a little. You can find the download link in the description below. There is no undo button as far as I know. This is why you have to instantly stop and save when you found something you like. Seriously! I messed this up so many times. Just quick save every 10 seconds. As soon as I see some futuristic elements, I'm gonna jump right into Photoshop. Okay, now we are in our familiar environment. You'll be warmed up at this point. If you're not, go back and watch the first episode on how to. Here, everything works like we are used to. So now we can start putting in definition. Think of it this way. You're lying in the open countryside with a friend, staring at the sky. You can clearly see a winged unicorn in one of the clouds, but your friend isn't able to. Wouldn't it be just awesome to add a couple lines here and there to make him see what we see? That's exactly what we're doing right now. I'm increasing the visibility of the shapes I like and getting rid of the distracting ones. The main tools for this process are the Path tool and the Selection tool. These are very helpful for sharp lines and designs and work best in contrast to a soft background with lots of gradients. If you want me to focus on these kind of tools, let me know in the comments. This is not my usual approach to painting, but it fits in very well with the alchemy sketch we started off with. You may notice me fighting with perspective and lighting a lot. This is because I didn't include a perspective grid, which I'm used to working with. But it's a lot of fun not being bound to rules of perspective. It might be a little challenging once in a while when you can't figure out your mistakes, but you clearly see that you've made them. I've might said this before, But a good technique of finding those mistakes is flipping your picture horizontally. If you're not happy with the results, try and repair the things which bother you most, flip it back, and look if it worked out. A good way to improve dealing with criticism is by minimizing your weak spots. This helps reducing avoidable critique, making the viewer focus on the entirety of your work. This will give you the constructive feedback you are looking for. As you can tell, I've been working only in grayscale up to this point. This is because it is much easier for me to get my values right first before messing around with colors. When I'm starting off with colors right away, I tend to end up with way too cheesy color sets. My imagination works best on black and white, that's why I'm restricting myself to as few obstacles as possible. Maybe it's the other way around for you, and you can create beautiful color sets but have difficulties with shapes? It's very helpful to figure out what your imagination works best with. To sum this up, when I find myself troubled not being motivated enough, I try something new, like alchemy. There's always something to learn out there, and the easiest way to achieve a feeling of success is learning something. Of course, this involves fighting with yourself and beating frustration. But even if your painting isn't a masterpiece, like this one, it will keep you motivated. And that's what it's all about, motivation. I think I'm calling it a wrap. I have no idea if this picture is going to make it into the game manual, but it sure works as a point to start off on. If you're interested in the idea of an open source board game, go and have a look at my blog. And you can find the final version of this episode's image there too. The board game will be for free once it's done, so you can download, print and play it. A friend of mine is working on an iPhone app, so you don't have to print all those gaming cards. Follow me on Twitter and I'll keep you up to date. So, that's it guys. See you soon. Bye.